All right. This is Unit 6. And in Unit 6, we're going to be dealing a lot with slope-intercept form, okay? So this is what I need you to write. Write this on your piece of paper. Make sure you include y-intercept and slope. We're dealing with an equation, and the y is, if we were really dealing with a graph, the y would be the up and down on the graph. And the x, of course, the x is going to be the left and right. And remember, when we're dealing with ordered pairs, we would normally have a x and a y. Remember, the x meant left or right, and the y meant up or down. So all of this still works. All of this still works. But write down what I wrote here. Y equals mx plus b. Matter of fact, write it 5 times. It'll help you remember. Y equals mx plus b. Now, when we're dealing with a slope, slope is a fraction. The numerator, or the top part, is up or down. The denominator, or the bottom part, is to the right. So if we had a slope of 3 over 2, that's 3 up and over 2 to the right. If we had a slope of negative 3 over 2, that's down 3, and we're going to the right 2. Now, if you have a slope that's just one number, it's really that number over 1. So the slope is always a fraction. All right. So the m in this is the slope, and the b is y-intercept. Okay. Now the x, remember, this is the x line, and this is the y line. So that stays the same. This y is here, this x is here. But for the equation, we don't have to worry about that. All we're worrying about is slope is m and y-intercept is b. If you remember this part, then everything else is going to fall in place. Everything else is going to fall in place, okay? Now on the side here, I have negative x, because sometimes you're going to see, like you might see y equals, okay, so this negative x is really negative 1 over 1 x. That's the slope. And 6 is the y-intercept. And let's go over the y-intercept one more time. Y-intercept is where on the y line a line crosses. So if I had a real simple line, let's say I had a line that went like this, okay? If I had that line, well, the y-intercept is going to be right here. That point where the line that I drew crosses the y, okay? So let's put this into practice, all right? So we're putting this into practice. Okay, so remember, y equals slope m x plus b. The m is a slope, b is a y-intercept. So if I look at this problem, this is our slope, okay? And this is our y-intercept. So we're going to begin with charting the y-intercept. So we're going to start with our point of origin right here in the middle. This is actually at 0, 0. And it says that we're going to go down 1 on the y line. So our first point, our y-intercept, is right here. And then I look at our slope and it says 3 over 4. So 3 over 4 is up 3 over 4. So from here, I'm going to go up 3, 1, 2, 3, and go over 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So my other line is going to be right there, right here. That's my other point, not line, but other point. So I have point there, and if you remember, we have a point right here. Okay. So now we have the y-intercept, and what we can do, because this teacher is actually asking me to write it in. So what's the y-intercept? The y-intercept is -1. And remember, we're still using that ordered pair format. What's the ordered pair format? Ordered pair format is just going to be an x, comma, and there's going to be a y. All right. And remember, the x is left or right, the y is up or down. So, okay. So with our y-intercept of -1, that's 0, -1. All right, so now we have our 2 dots. Let's go back. Our slope. All right, well, we did our dots. All right, so now we need to figure out what that slope is. So a slope, we know is 3, 4. And we went up 3. 1, 2, 3 over 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So now we need to, well, that should say graph the line. In Spanish, it says grafique la línea, which means graph the line. So let's go ahead and graph the line, okay? All right, so here's my line. It's not perfect, but I'm drawing. So I've done that. All right. I found out what the y-intercept was, 0, -1. It's actually right here. I figured out what the slope was, 3 over 4, which is right here. And then it told me to graph the line. So I put the dots and I graphed the line. That's how you would solve that. Okay. Pretty simple, right? Pretty. So let's carry on. So in this case, and you'll actually probably see this one. All right. So it says give the y-intercept of the line. So here's the y-axis. Here's the x-axis. So the y-intercept is where this line crosses the y-axis. This is the y-axis, and that's where it crosses right there. So let's go ahead and put our first point right here. And what is that point? That point is 0, because left and right, x and y, we're right here in the middle. So that's 0, and -3. And the great thing is, here's the equation of the line. The slope is right here, 1 over 2. Right? And this is how I can figure this out. All right, so I'm looking at this, and from here, the line is going up. So it'll be up 1, 1, 2. I went up 1, I went over 2. Okay? Up 1, over 2. Because there's another point here. And let's try it again. I'm gonna go up 1, over 2. And here's another point right here. So it's up 1 and to the right 2. Okay. So we found the slope. The equation is y equals 1/2 x minus 3. So this is our y-intercept. This is our slope. The equation is in slope-intercept form where m is the slope and b is the y-intercept. If you understand what we just did, you understand 6-1. If you understand what we just did, you'll understand 6-1. All right. So that's your 6.1. This is 6.1 in our curriculum. So that's 6.1. All right.